Hello, this is Abigail Alvarez, and today I'm going to talk to you about copyright in a school setting. To use or not to use? That is the question. Let's start with the lesson objective. At the end of this lesson, the student is expected to demonstrate understanding of the concept of copyright, identify cases in which copyrighted materials can be utilized under fair use in a school setting, and know the steps to secure permission to use copyrighted materials when it's necessary. In the first place, let's talk about why it is important for you to know about copyright. Now that you are in high school, throughout the rest of your academic career here in high school and later on, if you go to university, you will either utilize resources that exist already in your research, or you will create some new resources. You need to know whether you are able to use the resources that you need to utilize, or you know how to protect the materials that you create. So that is the reason why you need to know about copyright. Let's start by defining what copyright is. Copyrights are the rights that protect any creative work from being copied without permission. Copyright means exactly the right to copy something. So with copyright, the owner is granted the ability to reproduce and to communicate the material, and sometimes even perform it in public or showing it in public. Only the copyright owner can grant others permission to do any of these actions. Copyright is important, so much so that it has been legislated. Copyright gives the creator control over their creative work to be able to disseminate it and profit from it. Copyright is what allows a creator to make a living and control the work that they have produced. It is believed that copyright promotes the progress of science and useful arts because it creates an incentive for people to generate new works and profit from them, make a living from them. So what kind of works are protected under copyright laws? In order for copyright laws to apply and protect a work, they must meet three conditions. The first one, it has to be original work, and the second one has to be fixed. It has to be recorded, and the third condition is that it has to be recorded precisely in a tangible medium of expression. Some examples of works protected by copyright laws are published writings, video recordings, musical works, photography, paintings and sculpture, architecture, and even choreographies and performances, as long as they are fixed in a medium of expression, in a tangible medium of expression. Now, not everything under the sun is copyrighted. The works that are not copyright protected are facts. Any work created by the United States government, that is knowledge that we typically receive as part of the right that we have to information. Works that are not fixed in a tangible form of expression. An example of this is if you talk to a friend and you tell an idea to them, but it is not recorded in any medium. Your friend could run away with that idea and use it and copyright it if they get to record it. So that's why it is important to record any original creative work so that it can be protected by copyright. Any ideas, concepts, principles, or discoveries are not copyright protected. Unlike an invention, a discovery, it cannot be protected because there could be other people that make that same discovery at a different time. Words phrases or familiar symbols are not copyright protected either. One example that comes to mind is the word app. There was a case not too long ago where Apple wanted to copyright the word app, but it was ruled against them, and now the word app is a free word to use with no copyright protection because it is a word that has become very familiar. It's part of the public domain now. Another example of items that are not copyright protected are works that are in the public domain. And for the most part, those are works that have been created a long time ago. If the author died more than 70 years ago, then their work belongs already to the public domain. Any work for hire that has been created for 100 years, or that it has been published or distributed for 75 years is also part of the public domain. And in general, any type of work, original work that has been released by the author. An example of a work in the public domain is an image of the Mona Lisa, because as long as it is made to be in an exact replica of the Mona Lisa, that can be used without copyright protection because the author died more than 70 years ago. Well, it sounds like copyright laws are very restrictive, and it may sound like you may not be able to use a lot of the work that you might need for your academic career, but in fact you can use some of that copyright protected material. You just need to make sure that you either request permission from the copyright owner or that you adhere to the fair use rules, which we will go over in a minute. So what is considered fair use? Fair use is an exception from copyright for teachers and students for educational purposes. In the table below, there are some yeses and some nos for fair use. In order for the use of materials to be considered fair use, it has to comply with these 4 conditions. In the first place, the materials must be used with non-profit use. That means that you cannot get any revenue from producing or from using any of these materials. If they are used for commercial purposes, then that is a violation of fair use. Also, they must be used for general readership, educational purposes, as opposed to entertaining purposes. A clip of a movie can be used if it's going to be used to make a teaching point, as opposed to just watching a movie for fun. Also, part of fair use is how large or how small of a portion is what you're using. In order for it to comply with fair use, you need to use the smallest portion possible. And that ties into the 4th rule, which says that the portion that you use should have no effect on the earnings of the copyright owner. If, for example, you need to use a book, you are going to use maybe just a few pages as opposed to use the whole book, because if you are using the whole book, you are preventing the copyright owner from earning money from the sales of another copy. Now, even if you comply with fair use, you cannot change the work's format. It is illegal. For example, if you have a video on a VHS cassette, you cannot make it into a digital video without violating copyright laws. If you, for example, have a paper copy of a book and you want to make it digital and scan it to make it a PDF, that's also breaking copyright laws. And also, recording a read aloud of a printed book would be also a violation of copyright laws. So, if you need to secure permission to use copyrighted material, there are some steps that you need to take. In the first place, you have to contact the distributor or the publisher rather than the creator. So if it is listed in a book, you need to contact the distributor or the publisher. Also, you need to be specific in what parts are that you are requesting permission for. So specify the number of pages or the particular chapter that you want to use. There might be the need to pay a fee to use those. So ask for the fee, but also know that fees may be negotiable. They are not necessarily set in stone, so make sure that you ask about negotiating the fee. Also, if you end up not using the material or the totality of what you asked about, then you may be able to get some of that money back. So be sure to contact the publisher or the distributor and let them know that it was not used in the end. It is really important that you keep any sort of correspondence that you have with these people so that you can refer to it in case that there is any legal proceeding regarding the copyright material use. And that's it for today. I am leaving here with you some references so you can check out any of these materials if you want to know more about the topic. Thank you for your attention today.